Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. It is the player ratings, Manchester City 2, Everton 0 at the Etihad today. A disappointing result, not so much a disappointing performance. I thought Everton played well, certainly in the opening 45 minutes. I thought we done well to keep Manchester City at bay, to stop them from creating any real huge opportunities. They had a little bit of good fortune down that left-hand side with Jeremy Doku, but other than that, not an awful lot from Manchester City at all in that opening 45 minutes. But as we know, when we play against these teams that have got benches worth more money than our entire starting 11 is worth, it's always very difficult to keep that going for 90 minutes. And, Everton just ultimately come short today. And it's not something to be overly frustrated about or something to be overly upset about. It just adds even more pressure on next week's game against Crystal Palace, which is an absolute must win for me today. I mean, Sean Dyche obviously has had an extremely difficult job to do this season and has had to come through various different things that not many other managers have ever experienced in their careers. So fair play to Sean Dyche for being able to do that, but we haven't won a Premier League game since December, and if we don't beat Crystal Palace next week, a poor Crystal Palace side by the way, with a number of key players out, then I think there'll be a lot of question marks raised, and probably rightly so. But again, I'm not going to be too disheartened over this one today, because I don't think many of us expected to come away from here with anything. So let's get straight into it then. Jordan Pickford, I'm going to give Jordan I'm going to give him a 6.5 today. Don't think there was much he could have done for either goal. I know he got a hand on Haaland's first goal, but ultimately it was fired at him at probably about 100 mile an hour from 10 yards out. So I think it's a little bit, maybe a little bit harsh to expect Jordan to have done better in that situation. The second one he could have done absolutely nothing with. When Erling Haaland goes one-on-one with a goalkeeper, 99 times out of 100 it's the ball's in the back of the net. So there's not much he could have done with that. I actually don't think he had an awful lot to do for the rest of the game. City didn't have a single shot on target in the opening 45 minutes, and that tells you how good and well-rounded Everton's performance was in that first half. Obviously they grew into it a lot more in the second half, but apart from the two goals that they scored, I don't think they had many other opportunities for Jordan Pickford to have to pull out any ridiculous save. So yeah, again, I don't particularly blame him for either of the goals, and I don't think he had an awful lot to do other than that. Distribution wise, okay, certainly much better than last week against Tottenham. It was absolutely atrocious against Tottenham last week, but one of them. And if Vitaly Mykolenko left back, I'm going to give him a 7. Again, formed part of that back line in the first half that I thought was absolutely phenomenal. Got forward a lot in this game as well. Moved the ball forward a number of times and put himself into a good area to cross it in, or to create an opportunity. And like I said, defensively, for the most part, he wasn't really particularly troubled. I know you could say, oh, well, Man City have come away with the win, so he mustn't have been that great. But, it definitely wasn't a case of any of those backline, defenders making huge individual mistakes or huge errors. I know some people will talk about Brandtwaite, but Jared Brandtwaite showed today in his opening 80 minutes why he was one of the best young centre-halves on the planet and worth in excess of over £100 million. So, being nudged off the ball by the best player in the world with 5 minutes to go, in your first year in the Premier League, I don't think it's something to hugely overreact at. So, yeah, I'm going to give Miko a 7. I thought he was okay today. Moving on to Jared then, I'm going to give Jared an 8. I know he was at fault for the second goal. I understand it. I understand he needs to be stronger. I understand he needs to be bigger. But as I said, he's playing against the best centre-forward in world football. And when Erling Haaland has got goal on his brain and he's bearing down one-on-one with the keeper, it's very difficult for any defender to be able to deal with him in that situation, especially when he's in good form. So yeah, other than that, I thought Jared was absolutely phenomenal today. I thought he dealt with Haaland perfectly in the first half. Haaland never got a sniff, and you could tell that, because as the game went on, the more and more the game went on in the second half, Haaland was getting more and more frustrated. He was starting to leave a leg in, he was starting to play dirty, because you could tell he was getting frustrated with Jared Brandtwaite. Again, I think Jared showed today that his future in football is absolutely massive, and he is definitely somebody that for me is destined to go to the very, very top. Now, that probably won't be with Everton, but he's definitely impressed today, in my opinion, and I don't hold the mistake against them. Some people will. Some people will say, oh, you've got to be better in those moments. But as I said, for me, as soon as I saw De Bruyne and Grealish and Walker coming off the bench, I just sort of thought, yeah, we may as well just fucking pack up shop now and just turn over, because what's the point? And I'm sure if Man City had a 38-year-old playing right mid and a lone player playing on the wing and a £1 million centre-back partnership, and we're told he couldn't spend any money in January, and then Everton brought £400 million worth of players off the bench, I'm sure they'd be a little bit frustrated with it as well. So there you go. Tarky next to Jared. Then I'm going to give Tarky a 7. Again, thought he was quite solid today. I thought defensively he was really, really solid. The 2 goals, one of them come from a corner which should never have been given, and one of them was a counter-attack. Tarky not really involved in any of them. Thought he was solid today. Again, he showed why he is the ultimate sort of professional, isn't he? Certainly the ultimate professional centre-half. He's, no matter who he goes up against, no matter who he's got to face, he's always tough, he's always strong, he's always capable, and he never shies or backs away from a challenge. And I thought he was good as can be given the opposition today. And then Ben Godfrey at right back. I'll give Ben a 6.5. I thought he was okay. Today. I thought he put himself about. Don't get me wrong, he was caught a couple of times in that first half by Jeremy Doku, and Jeremy Doku did make it difficult for him in moments in that first half as well. But I thought he put himself about, worked hard, battled, obviously went off with an injury as well, so hopefully he's that's nothing too serious. But again, Ben is a player that a month ago we were talking about selling because he wasn't good enough to get an Everton squad, and now he's playing against the best team in the world. So you have to take those situations with a pinch of salt. Into the midfield then, Garner Gay. I'm going to give Garner a 7.5. I thought he was excellent in the first half. I thought he was absolutely excellent in the first half. He was the best player in an Everton shirt in that opening 45 minutes. He was winning the ball back, he was intercepting it, he was really disciplined, he was keeping his shape, he wasn't running out and getting excited and running towards the ball when he didn't need to, and he wasn't throwing himself into challenges he didn't need to either. I thought he was really, really well well composed and well managed in the middle of the park, and as I said, I thought he was excellent. Second half, slightly less involved. I think he probably got a little bit tired. I think he probably got a little bit like I said, fatigued and tired because of the fact that you're playing a ruthless side. A side that can, be in second gear, and if they don't get to third or fourth, they just bring a £100 million player on to do it. So, very difficult, but I thought he was definitely the best player in an Everton shirt in the first half. Slightly less active in the second half, but still a good performance. James Garner, going to give him a 6.5. I don't think he was as active today as he typically is. A couple of moments where he won the ball back, a couple of moments where he put himself in good positions to block the ball or to throw a challenge in, but I just don't think he was as involved today as what he has been in recent weeks. And personally, I would have liked him to have been involved a lot more. I just don't think he was massively part of the game, but again, difficult when you're playing against Manchester City. On to the forwards then. Ashley Young, I'm going to give him a 5. Look, I know people will say it's a thankless task playing against Manchester City. It's a thankless task being an attacker. You've barely got any possession in the game. Every time you've got the ball, there's crowds of players gathering around you to win it back, and it's never ever easy being an attacking player coming up against the best team in the world, especially when you're a 38-year-old attacking player who probably shouldn't be anywhere near the starting 11 of a Premier League side, let's be honest. But I just don't think, and this goes for all of those players along that front four, I just don't think there's many excuses for not being able to pass the ball 5-10 yards. I get it. If he doesn't score a goal or doesn't assist or doesn't create much, I get it. It's difficult. It's a thankless task. But there was a number of moments in that first half where every one of those players, McNeil, Harrison, Young and Calvert-Lewin, had the ball at their feet with good opportunities to pass it off and good opportunities to create something and move it into a little bit of space and try and get us up the pitch. And the passing was just woeful. And again, it's not solely on Ashley Young. I don't think you would get much more from any other 38-year-old professional footballer playing in that situation. I don't think he could have given more today, Ashley Young, because I don't think you'll get more from him. And I suppose that's where the expectation sits, doesn't it? You know, if I'm going to come on here and say Ashley Young gets a 1, he was terrible, that is almost me assuming that on another day he could get an 8 or 9 and he could be brilliant. He's at the very, very best, he's bang average. And bang average isn't good enough for playing Manchester City, I'm sorry, but it isn't. Jack Harrison in the middle, very similarly. Very, very similarly. Look, I know he works hard, he's getting a 5 today. I know he works hard, I know he runs round, I know he battles, I know he's exactly the Sean Dyche type of player. And do you know what? He probably is exactly what Everton are at the moment, isn't he? He's somebody that's willing to come on, dig deep, work hard, battle, run round, put himself about, fight for the shirt. And a lot of people are saying, well, what more do you want, Cam? Well, for me, I just want a little bit more from an attackers. And I'm not just talking about this game. I'm not just talking about this game because people could say, oh, we were playing the best team in the world. I'm just talking about generally. I just think generally his passing, his final ball, his decision making, his just the choices he makes on a football field, I just don't think are good enough and consistent enough. And again today, yeah, thankless task. Didn't have the ball much, didn't have many opportunities, but there was a couple of chances he had the ball at his feet with a good opportunity to pass it off, and he was wasteful. He was wasteful with it, and for me, that's just disappointing. I'm going to give McNeil the same score for exactly the same reasons again. Just moments where wasteful and again, works hard, puts himself about, battles, and people will slag me off for having a go at them because they do that. But it's all well and good losing 2-0 to Manchester City at the Etihad and saying, oh well, we worked hard, we'll just go again next week. But what happens next week if we don't beat a really poor Crystal Palace team at Goodison because Jack Harrison doesn't make the right decision in the final third, or Dwight McNeil doesn't make the right decision in the final third in a game that we absolutely need to win against the poor side? So that's where my sort of worry comes in. But yeah, again, I thought they both worked hard, ran round, put themselves about. And then Dom, I'm going to give him, I'll give the 3 of them a 5.5 because I don't think they were lazy. I don't think they just waltzed around. I don't think they couldn't be bothered. I thought they all worked hard and put themselves about. But there's only so much you can give when, you know, we didn't have loads of possession, don't get me wrong, in that first half. We didn't have loads of opportunities, but we had moments. We had moments where we just needed a little bit more of football and brain. We just needed a little bit more intelligence there, and it wasn't there from all 4 of those players I've just mentioned. Onto the bench then, Everton making 5 substitutions for the first time in God knows how long. Amadou Onana, I'm going to give him a 6. Thought he come on and done well. To be honest, thought he found pockets of space, thought he found areas to win the ball. Obviously, he never done much with the ball. You know, he couldn't bet over stood 300 miles offside every time he had it. But I thought he found nice little pockets of space to get it turn and progress into the counter. And there's absolutely no doubt in that Everton are a much, much better team when Amadou Onana is in that midfield. A much, much better team. I don't understand how people can say we aren't, because we really, really are. But yeah, good to see him back. Beto then. I'm going to give Beto, I'm going to give him a 3. Look, I didn't expect him to come on and score a brace and get us back in the game. I didn't expect him to come on and absolutely turn the world on its head and win the game for us. But I expect him to be at least within a yard or 2 offside. I mean, there was 2 moments there where, one, he missed a one-on-one, which was poor in itself. One, he put it in the back of the net, but then the replay goes back and it's not even tight. He's not even looking up the line. Now, I don't mind players being offside, I don't mind players being a yard, or they've not timed their run quite right, or the ball's being released a little bit too late. I don't mind that. But when you stood there like 4, 5, 6 yards offside and you've not looked along the line and you've got the ball through, and then you're looking around to say, well, was I offside? I just think it shows a bit of a lack of, as I said, know-how and position and know-how. And, say what you like about Beto, he's a nuisance. He puts himself about and he'll get there with little tiny bits of his game that need tweaking. But that today, if I'm Dyche, that's a big, big problem for me today. A big, big problem, because if that happened on a Sunday league pitch with a load of kids, the kid would be getting told after the game, you need to watch the line. You can't be that far offside. It's just not good enough for me. Coleman, give him a 6.5. Come on, ran round, worked hard, put himself about. Obviously, great to see him back. Chimiti can get a 6. No, can get a 5. I don't know if he touched the ball. I'll be honest, I don't know if he touched the ball. And then Dobbin, come on and was lively. Tried to pick it up. He's getting a 6. Tried to move it round. Tried to make something happen. But you know, too little too late at that point, isn't it? So there you go. They are the player ratings. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. We'll be back obviously with the game review on Monday. It is what it is. As we say pretty much every time we play Manchester City, especially at the Etihad, let's not worry too much about it. Dust ourselves down and focus on what is almost cup final-esque size on Saturday against Crystal Palace. We need to win that game. It's as simple as that. So there you go. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you later.